Hello, global thinkers. Welcome back to Think BRICS, your compass to the multipolar world. I'm happy to see you here again, and I want to thank all of you. Because of your support, our channel has grown a lot in past few weeks. If this keeps up, we'll be able to make more videos every week and build a fun and helpful community. So let's continue this exciting journey together. Now let's focus on the large and vibrant continent of Africa. The BRICS countries are showing increasing interest in Africa. African countries are moving away from the old colonial mindset and are becoming important players in the global politics and economics. This is not just happening by chance. It is carefully planned strategy for many reasons. Let's take a closer look. Firstly, Africa's vast natural resources make it an attractive partner for these emerging economies. From oil and gas to minerals and metals, Africa's untapped resources present a significant opportunity for BRICS nations, many of which are resource-intensive economies. Secondly, Africa's burgeoning consumer market is another draw. With a population of over 1.3 billion people, the continent offers a vast market for goods and services. For instance, China has been deepening its ties with Africa not just in terms of resource extraction, but also in selling its products to the growing African middle class. Thirdly, there is also a geopolitical angle. Russia, for instance, has been hosting Africa summits in a bid to forge stronger alliances and extend its influence on the continent. These summits are seen as Russia's attempt to re-establish its foothold on Africa, a region where it has significant clout during the Soviet era. Lastly, there is a shared sense of solidarity and mutual understanding between BRICS and many African nations, as they are all emerging from a history of colonialism and are now striving to assert their place in the global order. Joining BRICS could offer African nations new opportunities for growth, that's obvious. But it also comes with potential challenges and risks that need to be carefully considered. Because it's not just BRICS that wants to tie with Africa. Western countries also don't want to lose their position in that continent. French President Emmanuel Macron had a tournée in Africa trying to renovate old ties. Though not everywhere his visit met a warm welcome. But the French president continued to insist on his presence in the African continent and, after all, directly asked to invite him to the upcoming BRICS Summit in Johannesburg. But among 70 invitations sent by South Africa to heads of the states, there were no one addressed to Paris. After that, it became clear that heavy artillery should be used. And some days ago, a rumor appeared that U.S. Deputy Secretary of State for Political Affairs Victoria Nuland may soon pay a visit to South Africa. Will she offer cookies again? We'll see. However, it is still just a rumor. Nothing is official until today. On 27th and 28th of July, Russia hosted its second summit, Russia-Africa, Economic and Humanitarian Forum that took place in St. Petersburg. 49 nations from African continent have attended the summit, half of them represented by heads of states and governments. The Russia-Africa Summit presents a unique opportunity for African leaders amidst a significant geopolitical shift. The main topics of the discussions were food security and trade. The war between Russia and Ukraine has significantly impacted on Africa. Securing a new deal for grain and fertilizer supplies should be a priority. Trade between Russia and Africa has grown, but it's primarily beneficial to Russia. African countries had a chance to negotiate a program to boost their exports to Russia. The Russian president had a personal meeting with Dilma Rousseff, president of the BRICS Bank, the New Development Bank. The purpose of this bilateral meeting was to establish Russia's views on the NDB's role in the upcoming BRICS Summit, which will be hosted by South Africa in August 2023. Putin also met with the leaders of Egypt and Ethiopia, recalling that both countries have applied for BRICS membership. Interestingly, that Kremlin has recently accused the West, particularly the United States, of trying to sabotage its Russia-Africa summit by pressuring African countries not to take part. This summit, which is part of Russia's concerted push for influence and business in Africa, is seen as a key platform for Russia to strengthen its ties with African nations. The West's alleged attempts to disrupt this summit highlight the geopolitical tensions surrounding the growing influence of BRICS in Africa. Let us now shift our attention to the theme and priorities of the BRICS 2023 summit under the chairmanship of South Africa. It is definitely that Africa itself will be at the center of the upcoming BRICS summit, a topic that has been little considered by the media, who have preferred to focus only on the issue of Putin and the International Criminal Court. But in our opinion, a main topic, Western chancelleries, particularly in the US, have by no means underestimated. The theme is BRICS and Africa, partnership for mutually accelerated growth, sustainable development, and inclusive multilateralism. This theme informs the presidency's priorities for 2023 that in few words may sound like partnership, education, free trade area. Now, when we have a brief overview of what Africa may give to BRICS, it is time to discover why African nations are so keen to join this club. For African nations, BRICS is a platform to boost their global profile and attract more investments. Countries like Algeria, Ethiopia, and Egypt have expressed strong interest in becoming BRICS members, having made an official application. Let's take a closer look at these countries. Algeria, a country rich in natural resources, particularly oil and gas, sees BRICS as a potential avenue for diversifying its economy and strengthening its international standing. The country has been actively pursuing BRICS membership, seeing it as a strategic move to enhance its economic prospects. Ethiopia, despite its recent civil war, sees BRICS membership as a way to move beyond its past and open up new opportunities for growth. The country has signed its key role in founding the African Union and other institutions, along with its national interest as grounds for seeking BRICS membership. Ethiopia, one of Africa's fastest growing economies, has developed strong economic ties with China and India in recent decades. Joining BRICS would signal openness and lead to greater cooperation, potentially enabling it to attract more investment. Egypt, the most populous Arab country, has also shown interest in joining BRICS. With Russia's support, Egypt is looking to maximize the transfer of trade towards national currencies and promote the creation of a new common BRICS currency. This move could offer Egypt the opportunity to strengthen its trade and economic ties with BRICS countries. In essence, these African nations see BRICS as a platform that could offer them a stronger voice in the global arena, greater control over their economic future, and the opportunity to foster closer ties with some of the world's most influential emerging economies. Above visual benefits that African nations can have cooperating with BRICS, there are also potential downsides to consider. One of the main concerns is the potential strain in relations with Western powers. Ethiopia, for instance, has had its relations with the West quite sour due to reported human rights violations during its civil war. Joining BRICS could potentially encourage Western powers to stress very heavily the Ethiopian government on this issue. Algeria became one of the major gas suppliers for Europe after US sanctions on the Russian energy sector and explosion of Nord Stream pipelines. Joining the BRICS may influence on trade turnover with European countries, mainly France, Italy, and Spain, who have a historical background with Algeria. Aligning with BRICS could also mean distancing from traditional allies for Egypt too, mainly with the United States, which still provides crucial economic and military aid to the country. As I mentioned earlier, South Africa sent out many invitations to visit the summit, and unexpectedly, the feedback was so impressive that the organizing committee realized that Durban is too small and cannot accommodate all the guests willing to come. Therefore, it was decided to move the summit to the country's largest city, Johannesburg. Africa's role in the BRICS is becoming increasingly important. The continent's economic growth, strategic location, and rich resources make it a key player in the global economy. As the BRICS nations continue to forge a new world order, Africa's influence is set to grow even further. Well, global thinkers, the world continues to spin and we remain in the center of its whirlwind. The BRICS' shift relationship with Africa, the involvement of Western countries, and the inherent geopolitical intrigue is like a grand game of chess played on a board that is our very own world map. Now we have considered Algeria, Ethiopia, and Egypt, and we have talked about the opportunities as well as the potential risks that these countries face in their desire to join the BRICS. But what other nations are knocking at BRICS' door and why? What are the wider implications of their inclusion? Let's open a discussion on this matter below. Your thoughts and your point of view are valuable to us. Drop your comments below and let us know what you think about the evolving role of Africa in the BRICS and what it could mean for the multipolar world. And don't forget to hit that like button if you have found this video educational and curious. If you are new to Think BRICS or haven't subscribed yet, consider joining our community of global thinkers by pushing that subscribe button. But before we wrap up, let's keep in mind that rumored visit of the US Deputy Secretary of State for Political Affairs, Victoria Nuland, to South Africa. In case it is true, we'll definitely find something interesting to talk about. Remember, here at Think BRICS, we are all about thinking, questioning, and learning. So stay tuned as we continue our quest for understanding in this ever-changing, ever-fascinating world of ours. Stay curious and stay with us. See you in our next video conversation.